Hello, welcome. I'm Trina. I was going to
Me?
let you introduce yourself this time.
Hello. My name
Heads
is
up,
Jason.
heads up might have been nice, huh? And this is Life Divergent. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing grammar pedantry syndrome.
Yeah, it's a thing informally or pop culturally, but regardless of what type of it is, don't hold us accountable for diagnosing yourself, or there's no instance in which we are responsible for anything you do with this information.
That's
General
true.
disclaimer. We're not doctors, we're not lawyers, we're not anything worthy of time or attention, so don't give it that.
We are.
I
Forgive
don't
my
know what I'm
voice. I've
saying.
been sick all week. It's still a little iffy, but yeah. So as he was saying, grammar pedantry syndrome is not what am I trying to say? A real diagnosis or anything like that? It's pop psychology. Pop psychology. If only I could talk. All right.
Yeah.
I have a friend.
It's a yellow Yoshi.
It is, and he walks. In theory, he's not going to walk on my hand for you.
He is not.
He can walk on air. There we
He
go.
tries really hard.
He has a little red shell. Yes.
There was a previous episode where I brought this friend.
Yes, you did. I love
Now,
that friend.
If this friend decides to turn itself inside out,
Aha!
it's an
Where
angry
pigs
version.
fly. Pigs fly. All right, and Yoshi goes in here. He doesn't turn himself out inside out, but he goes in here in theory. Okay, very good. So there are our friends, and here we are in our episode. So grammar pedantry syndrome, as we said, is a pop psychology term. It's not a clinical diagnosis. Still, a lot of researchers these days are linking the behavior to obsessive compulsive features and perfectionism.
I don't know what you wanted me to add right now.
Nothing really.
Okay.
But I guess the point of our episode is, why do neurodivergent people care so much about grammar, punctuation, and that kind of thing?
Because people are wrong and they need to know it.
Is it just because we like to be dicks? No, that's not why. We actually have this thing inside of us that can be like an anxiety thing that causes us discomfort, like, and physical pain when we deal with things like that. You want to tell us kind of why, Jason? Why grammar hits us differently?
Yes. Languages were built a specific way for a specific reason. So people might not understand the rules. People might say, "Oh, you know what I meant." It's like, perhaps in a specific instance here and there, but everything about a language was designed specifically for clarity or to make a specific point in whatever instance. So if you are not precise, or if you have a typo, or you speak in shorthand or whatever, it can lead to some confusion. And so it's critical for people who need clarity. And I know that specifically, or especially people on the spectrum who have a strong dislike for being misunderstood, it's important to say what you mean, and it's important that people can understand you.
Right. I know a typo, like if I'm reading, for example, a book, something that I perceive to be a typo or a grammatical error or a punctuation error sends me for a loop. And it's hard for me to pick that book back up or to have faith in the book, if that makes any sense. It's difficult for me to trust that book. It's too much for me. Do you have any things like that?
In books and having a lack of.
No, just typos and meaning other than what you've already said. Can we start this again?
Why?
I don't know.
This is fine. Listen,
Okay.
it's like 7:50. I'm unmedicated today. My ability to stay focused is negative. So
Okay.
if you can just understand that's where I am and like pull me in if I seem like I'm not as responsive.
Okay. Got it. All right. So then there's hyperlexia and patterns. So many of us who are neurodivergent, we hyper focus on words, spelling, and pattern breaks. It's essential for us to have that clarity, as we said earlier. And errors can feel physically grating. Like, I guess, like if you run your nails down a chalkboard, the way that affects me is the way that grammatical and so forth errors affect me. I'm not saying I'm never wrong, because I am a lot. And fortunately, I have people around me who will correct me.
And that's okay. Like, I'm okay with being corrected because, I mean, how many people out there really want to go around just being wrong all the time, knowing that everyone around them knows it? Like, that's horrible. Then, like, like when you find it's okay. So it's like you found out your fly was down for like 8 hours today, and then if you never knew, you never knew. But when you find out, it's like a horribly embarrassing. Why did nobody tell me? This
How
is
long was I like that?
this is
Yeah.
the verbal equivalent of your fly being down.
Yeah. Except, is that painful for you?
Not the error portion of it. The only part of it that's like
I
that
meant the fly
grates.
thing.
I mean, sometimes
If you zip it up too quickly.
yeah. I mean, that's you got a little bit of something about Mary in there, which is. I mean, that can be physically ripping.
Ooh.
But as far as you said with the errors and the nails on the chalkboard, that doesn't. I don't feel that way. But when I don't really correct people anymore because
Me neither.
in the instance where I would, and they would be annoyed by it or refuse to change or refuse to even look. I'm not telling you I'm right. I'm giving just look, figure it out for yourself. Don't just assume that I'm wrong because you don't like how it makes you feel. That's what's grating for me is people's inability to accept that maybe they're not perfect any of the time, as is made evident by the increase of my volume. It drives me insane.
Yeah, there are a great number of people who find it difficult to take any sort of feedback in a positive way. That's one thing about like us anyway. We are good at correcting each other, but we also welcome being corrected.
Yeah.
Compared to some people who try to correct but aren't good at the constructive criticism themselves.
No. You're using the wrong there because you're stupid.
Oh.
Like, don't be that guy for sure.
Right. Okay. And then, I understand some people because, we struggle with neurodivergence on several levels. But there are some people who do struggle with rejection sensitive dysphoria. And that's something that's common in ADHD and in autism. And for people like that, if they get pushed back on it being corrected and that kind of thing, that can be painful. For us, because at least for myself, it's the only person I can really speak for, because I know how it feels for me if things are wrong. I'm trying to help people who might feel the same way, but unintentionally hurt them, especially, if they're neurodivergent as well. So that can be one of the unfortunate consequences. And I kind of, as you said earlier, and I agreed, have stopped correcting people so much. I will correct people in my own little circle. But other people in general, I don't bother anymore. I just stay away from people now.
The RSD comment can be, as you were saying, referred. What the hell am I trying to say? If you provide a correction and someone pushes back and you have the rejection sensitiveness, that pushback can be hard. The other side of it is people might be resistant because maybe they're the ones who are just RSDing all over the place. You provide a correction, and that's like suggesting that they're wrong, and that can be interpreted as a sense of rejection of their place in a social setting. And those two things can work against each other.
Right. So you have, yeah. So when talking about this, I think that I do like the term grammatical pedantry syndrome compared to other things that are used, like especially, I know grammar police is used often, but so many times the label grammar Nazi is used. And I very much dislike that. I find it highly objectionable. First of all, because I don't like the word Nazi. But because
Why? It's just a word. It's like it describes the type of, like, those were what?
What?
You don't like the word Nazi?
No.
That's not like a slur. It's just that's what they were called.
I know, but it makes it seem like you're assuming that you're trying to control people by correcting people.
Okay. Well, you said you didn't like the word Nazi, but you don't like the expression grammar Nazi and the connotation?
Yeah. Okay. Because it assumes that you're trying to control people, when really it's a neurodivergent trait, and there's no malice, there's no superiority in it. It's just there's something in you that, yeah.
So yeah, grammar Nazi is, obviously there are negative associations with the term Nazi. So it's not the people who prefer correct grammar and who correct people. They didn't come up with that label, really. It's people don't like being corrected, and they use the label grammar Nazi by demonizing the people who are trying to help or trying to deal with their own internal struggles. It makes them feel better about the fact that they are perhaps being corrected. So instead of reflecting on yourself and accepting that, God forbid, you might be wrong about something ever, we're just going to disparage or say something negative about these other people who are dealing with issues of their own or trying to do things the right way.
Yeah, it also kind of villainizes, and it turns neurodiversity into a stereotype in a sense, instead of acknowledging or recognizing that you're just wired differently. As you said the other day, and somebody said they really liked it, that you're using a different operating system, and your operating system is wired for clarity.
I didn't even know I had wired.
Number 5 is alive.
Anyway.
Yeah. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, but I mean, listen, you can just tune me out. That's fine. I bring no serious value. It's all jokes all the time.
Okay.
Anyway, so
moving on.
Okay, so you have to wonder why we're talking about this, because some people think it's just about correcting people because you need to know that I'm better than you, which is not the case. Or I feel better about myself because I'm pushing everyone else down. Again, that's not the case. It's behavior that's linked to things like perfectionism or even obsessive compulsive behavior, like either OCD or OCPD, depending on how you feel about correcting people, which is a whole other episode.
Yeah. So what happens is you have this brain loop where a typo can feel like chaos, which triggers an anxiety response. And then fixing that typo can bring you a sense of relief.
Yeah, so, and then you have people who like to exploit that anxiety response or that stressor or whatever because it's funny to them. Perhaps a little bit of a digression, but you know the expression "what you doing." What you isn't really a word, but it's an expression. You know, it's fine. I was talking to someone, and they would like if they're reaching out, they might say "what you doing," and then a couple times they said "what doing," and I'm like, "What you doing's already shorthand. Now you're just saying what doing. What next? You're just gonna put the letters WD,
Wadu.
and now that's all I ever get is WD for what you doing." Just because one time I suggest, like, I was annoyed, like jokingly, but I suggested, "Oh, why don't you just do that if you're gonna do it wrong?" And that's just all I get now, forever. So.
So, yeah, that's unfortunate when people do it intentionally because they know that it bothers you.
That's a whole conversation and a half. Like
Yeah.
people
And it
who
goes
get
beyond bother.
pleasure, they have this enjoyment of seeing others suffer. It's like, what kind of person are you, really?
Yeah. As you said, it's a whole different conversation, but really, it's like, just to be clear, it goes beyond just bother. A fly flying around my head bothers me,
Yeah,
but this goes beyond that.
I know. It's like you want to smack the fly, sure. I mean, I guess people who are wrong, you want to do the same thing. Anyway, those are jokes officially.
So what some researchers have found is that this GPS, which again, pop psychology term, not a clinical diagnosis, is more common in introverts and people with intolerance for ambiguity. Now, we were talking about how clarity is the onus of the speaker, but we agreed that it was also the onus of the receiver if the receiver realized that the information that they received wasn't clear. However, if you don't know the questions to ask, then you don't know that the information that you received was wrong. Did I say that right?
I think so.
Okay.
You use the word onus, which I'm sure, I mean, I had never heard of that word before, but contextually you can figure out. But I think what's appropriate for this episode is me saying you're using a word that I don't understand and I don't like how it makes me feel. So I'm going to think that you're pretentious for using that word.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So, would you like me to tell you what onus means?
No, I know what it means. I was saying I figured it out contextually. That was easy enough. But it's not a word I'd heard before.
Oh, wow. Cool. All right. So,
you seem pleased with that. You seem pleased with that. Like you're impressed with yourself for what I didn't know.
You learned something.
I'm always learning stuff.
Pleased because, like, oh, something you didn't know, like that. I was pleased because you learned a new word. And
I'm not learning things in life. I'm wasting my time.
Exactly that. A burden, responsibility, or obligation to do something. That's for other people who might not have understood.
I know you're doing that for others who may not have really heard the whole sentence or had already tuned out because it's hard to stay focused.
Because we're all over the place?
Aren't we?
We are. So, for fun, or not for fun, but we thought we would share some of the things that really grind our gears.
That's a list. That's a whole list.
It is.
And I don't mean that kind of as a, I don't mean that figuratively. We have a whole list.
We do. We have a whole list.
And I wanted to comment further before we get into that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. I did want to add commentary to how it feels. I know that we talked about it briefly, but it's if there are typos or words that aren't being used correctly or there's ambiguity, stressful. Fixing it can be a relief, that's for sure. And that's
Yeah.
kind of the OCPD kicking in. Or I do know for some people, fixing it is like a requirement, and it's not relieving. It's a stressor all the way through, and it's like something that has to be done. There's no relief afterward. It's just a thing that happened that was stressful the whole time.
Yeah. Moving on until the next one, kind
Yep.
of.
And depending on the company you carry, that could be all the time.
Yeah. I worked at this company, and there was just one particular person who supposedly she was pretty smart and good at her job or whatever, but I could not work with her. And she was like the main person over this one department, and it was something that I was learning. And anytime she sent an email to me, I had to forward it to my boss and get her to translate it for me, because she didn't use proper punctuation. She didn't necessarily use complete sentences. She would just throw down some thoughts, throw down thoughts, throw down thoughts. And it's like, I need complete sentences. I need A, B, C, D. And it's okay if you throw in an X and a Y, but they have to connect. But I need complete sentences. So I literally would have to send it to my boss to get her to translate what the person was trying to tell me, because she didn't have proper grammar, didn't have proper punctuation, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I still to this day don't understand how other people understood what the hell she was talking about most of the time. Yeah.
Yes, I've had that issue as well. It's
Yeah.
awkward at work, like in a personal setting. I'm fine telling people to clarify something for me, but if I'm like working with customers or clients and they send an email, I don't want to say, "Can you reword this in a way that makes sense?"
Yeah, that comes off as yeah, arrogant. That's not the word I'm trying to say.
Rude.
That too. But
I'm telling them they don't make sense,
yes.
or that's an inference they can make.
Yeah. I never went back to that woman and told her, I just went to my boss and said, please explain this to me in a way I understand. So, yeah. All right. I get that some people are more educated than others, and some people just have ways that they're raised or in their families that are different. So I'm not trying to judge other people. I'm not even trying to do anything with the way that I feel. I just feel. But as we said earlier, in correcting, or when I was correcting, I would be trying to find some relief. And I think what finally ruined it for me was I was dating this person one time who kept saying things incorrectly, and I would correct him. And he just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And so I asked him one time, I'm like, I seriously want to know, when I tell you the right way to say things and you keep saying it wrong anyway, are you doing it because you don't remember that I corrected you? Or are you doing it because you don't care? And his answer was, I don't care. So that was painful. Our relationship didn't last very much longer.
I would think that's less painful, at least for me, because it's like, if you don't care, then it's like, okay, sure, it's not something that's important to you.
But it's
Okay.
important to me.
Yeah, I get that. But if some people,
Just
I'd
kidding.
rather you not care than be irritated as if it's frustrating for you that someone's calling you out. Like, at least not
Yeah.
caring, it doesn't mean it's not like a personality quirk that needs to be removed. Just like, I'm just repeating myself at this point.
Yeah. So shall we get onto our list?
We're not finished with our slides. I know you're
Oh,
excited to rant
I
about these things,
am.
but
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
so what can you do about this? If you're a sufferer of incorrectness,
Incorrectosity?
there's something else. You made a comment about people being uneducated. Now, I wanted to chime in with that's not a bad thing to not have an awareness of a topic or to not have that knowledge. It's just a thing. So if someone references an ignorance on a topic or being uneducated, some people might say it as like an insulting way, but it's just, I mean, look at the definitions of the words or what the phrase really means. It's just descriptive, and be honest with yourself about whether or not it's true. If there's a topic like grammar, you're not really familiar with the intricacies, you might be ignorant to that topic, you might not be as educated, but that's okay if that's just where you are. Just understand where you are in a skill set or a development, and then be okay with that and stay there or work toward getting stronger in that ability.
Right.
That's fine. It's nothing to worry about.
Right. Again, this is kind of a touchy subject where we could come across as dicks and arrogant and so on, but that is not the way it's intended, because honestly, as I've said a number of times now, it physically bothers me. Some of these things, like I cringe. Not cringe, but anyway.
It's very important to understand that when people are talking about knowledge, level of education, or just skills that you might be developing, commentary on that has nothing to do with the quality of your character and who you are as a person. So, in theory, in a perfect world, people shouldn't be bothered by it. I mean, that's not how people work, and that's also like the data version of me talking. So I'm just saying, try to not take it personally. It's just stuff.
Unless the person is in fact being a dick, then you can, but we're not, so don't. Yeah. All right. So what you can do, though, if you find yourself in a situation where you need to tell people, like if in a work situation or something like that, in a place where you feel safe, you can tell people, look, my brain reads language literally. I'm not trying to be critical. I just need it clear so I can follow what's been said. So anything else on that?
Yeah, actually, there's a strong difference between saying, hey, I read language literally. I just need it to be clear so I can follow. You could say that, sure. Certainly don't say you're stupid and it's pissing me off. It's probably the wrong answer. Don't do that. You got to just try to be understanding and communicate clearly.
Well, if you're expecting someone to understand where you're coming from, you need to understand where they're coming from as well. It has to be a symbiotic.
I don't know why it's hard for me to be serious sometimes. Just I'm joking a lot. I don't know. All right, so you want to talk about the things that you hate?
Sure, why not? Sure. I'll just start off with, and also, in general, redundancies drive me insane, and also is one of the biggest ones. And I've noticed that it has crept into our society more and more lately, that people would be, and also, all you need is one or the other, and or also, because they mean the same thing. And to put them together is being redundant. How does that affect me? Yeah, it does. It does.
Is that a clarity thing as much as just?
That's as much as I can clarify without ripping my and showing you inside of me and the pain that I'm in when just me saying it myself. It's bothersome to me.
There are a few things that stand out. One that I've recognized that I was doing within the past 5 years, I recognized it. was saying things like, I've got to get this done. If I'm at work, then I looked at it like, I've got to get this done. I have got to get. Having got are effectively the same thing. Why am I using both of those words? I mean, technically, have is in possession of. Got is the past tense of I acquired XYZ. So just pick one. And so now that I recognize that, I see it everywhere, and it's just like that could
Yes.
be more clear. I don't know if you're saying that it's something that you're in possession of, or did you recently obtain it? Like, is that the point of the conversation? I
Did
just
you mean to
received
say
these
I've
things.
gotten? I've gotten?
That's I have gotten. I can't. I don't even want to talk about what you just said. I don't even know what that is.
I didn't say botten.
I'm done with what I just said. You can move on to the next thing.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're
But,
not.
it's funny because that was a similar thing that happened to me. That was something that I noticed on my own and in a very similar way. All right, the lack of the Oxford comma. You want to explain what the Oxford comma is, Jason, for people who might not know what the heck I'm talking about?
Yeah, we call it the correct way of doing things.
Yes.
Now, so there, I don't know if that's universal. Everyone sees it that way. But if you have a list, you list your first item, you put a comma. You list your second item, you put a comma. And then you would say, and the third item, like X, comma, Y, comma, and Z. Some people don't put the comma before the and. So it's X, comma, Y, and Z. That can be confusing if you do not do that, but that's her item. I have strong feelings, but I don't want to just dominate this whole angst.
Yeah,
Session.
my thing was, okay, if you're telling me that it's okay not to use that additional comma, what if I'm telling you that at our luncheon today, we have 3 different kinds of sandwiches? We have peanut butter and jelly, egg and cheese, and sausage and bacon. Do you know? Like, if I didn't say we had 3 kinds, if I just said, here are the kinds of sandwiches we have: peanut butter and jelly, egg and cheese, sausage and bacon, you might think we have 4 different sandwiches.
A lot of ands in there. You only have one comma. Just who knows? That could be a mess of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the best clarification, but for me, I need that comma. If I don't, I mean, again, when I see some of these things, it wrecks me, especially if I'm reading, or it's like a stop. That's how it feels inside of me. All right.
I have
What's
an
next?
example that perhaps doesn't
It's
have a lot
better.
of sandwiches involved.
You don't like my sandwiches? Well, there's a sandwich here in a little bit, so go ahead.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna go bowling with my friends John and James. So that's when you say my friends, comma, John and James, right? And so you don't have the Oxford comma, you just have the one comma, my friends, John and James. And that's what you would do if you're separating that, because you're letting people know who your friends are in that context. Now, if you're not actually friends with John and James, but you're also going bowling with them and your friends, you could say, I'm going bowling with my friends, John and James. Like, those are the people. And so the Oxford comma identifies that you have a list, and not that you're describing the thing that you had just said, or a qualifying. So
So you're
that
going
can
with your
matter.
friend, and then John and James.
Yeah, because you don't use the Oxford comma. You said my friends John and James, and you text someone and they're like, I didn't know you're friends with John and James. What are you doing? Because I'm a high school person. I want to create drama all the time. You're not friends with them. It's like, nah, I wasn't saying that. I left out this comma. Trust me, I don't really like these people. Don't worry about it. We're just friends. Nah, it's cool. And then it
Dude,
creates
all
a whole
that?
issue.
All that.
Huh?
All that.
Yes, this is a real life scenario, I presume. Of course, if you're the type of person who's going to get angsty about a comma, you're probably not old enough to be going bowling and hanging out with the bros. You know what I'm saying?
I get angsty about commas.
Then you're
Okay.
not old enough to hang out with the bros and go bowling.
Probably not. All right. Next.
This is more a grader for you, so feel free to
Yes.
take over the next one.
Forwards, backwards. I don't like that S.
Towards. I mean,
Just
it's
forward.
it's regional, sure.
Backward.
America and Canada tend to not have the S in toward. But what's the point?
Like the Oxford comma thing. Some people might say, "What's the point of that?" But
Well, there's
it's
actual value
it's
there.
regional, but it still hurts me.
There was a whole court case where employees of a company were compensated with significant overtime because of a lack of an Oxford comma in an employee handbook.
Mm. That's interesting. I'll have to
Was it
look
an
that
employee
up.
handbook or was it in legislature? There was something about it. I remember reading about that and I was like, yes, +1 for Oxford comma.
Yay! All right. So go ahead. You want to do the next one?
Subject verb agreement.
Yes.
One that an ex of mine, I have a lot of stories that exes used to do. Why was I with these people for as long as I was, honestly? The girl used to say,
Because you
there's
have
some, what?
neurodivergences.
Probably. There was someone who said, "Where's my keys?" And I'm like, "Where is my?" That's not how that works. It's "Where are my keys?" or is "Where is my key?" Take your pick. There's a reason why things are done a certain way for a certain reason. So just please do it correctly. And I, being younger and ignorant on this topic, I would just straight up say that's wrong, and then she would continue to do it because she knew it annoyed me a little bit, knew it bothered me. Which I mean is fine. I probably deserved it if I'm just calling it out.
Yeah.
A little bit controlling. Stop doing that. You're wrong. It's like just Jason, shut up. The things I've
No, I
learned in the
don't like
past.
that phrase.
Okay, so I've learned a lot in the past 20 years. I am no longer the ignorant fool I was. I'm only the ignorant fool I am. It's a very different person.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my frustration on that. It's just
Yes. I don't like that either, and I hear it
is
all the
plural.
time.
Sorry, is singular are plural.
What?
Is singular are plural. I are
Right.
plural.
And it happens all the time. All the time. And you know what really gets me is when I see people in a profession, like in the media, on radio, on TV, because back in the day, this didn't happen. People didn't say, "There's 10 dogs over there," when they were reporting on the news. But you hear things like that nowadays. And I can't.
Yeah, we
All
got a
right.
whole slew of things to run through.
Yes, we do. All right. So here's one. Make me a sandwich. Poof, you're a sandwich.
I think that's the dumbest joke.
I know it is, but it illustrates the point, don't you think? It should be make a sandwich for me. I know I do this too. I do it all the time, and every time I do it, it irks me. So there's that one.
I have a lot of comments on this specific example.
Comment.
No. There's some amount of misogyny in the comments I want to make.
Huh?
There's some amount of misogyny in the comments I want to make. Because I joke about things.
Yeah.
What? You want me to? You want it? Is that what you're asking for?
That's up to you.
You want the joke?
No.
I mean, it's your podcast. This is going to
It's
tank it.
my
So
podcast. Okay. Are you going to tell me?
this specific type of grammar correction is really, it primarily applies to men. That's a joke. I do that.
Okay.
As if it's the men telling the woman to make them a sandwich. That's the joke.
Exactly. I got
That's
you.
not a real thing, but there are
It's
dicks who actually
funny.
see,
Make
we
me a
can make
sandwich.
that- I can make the joke because we all understand that we're not really like that. If I were to say that joke to someone who actually believes that and they're like, right, then it's uncomfortable for me because it's like I didn't know you actually you weren't supposed to think that's a real thing.
No.
All right.
What is it that I give off that makes you think that I think that way? All right. You want to do the next one?
Yeah. I mean, it's not as big of a deal.
What?
I said it's not as big of a deal. It's kind of. I have a couple that are smaller. Like this one is the difference between amount and number.
Mm-hmm.
So what's a good example when you talk about your example was the amount of sneezes or the amount of people.
Yeah.
Amount is usually in reference to volume.
Right.
Number is quantity of like items.
Well, you
Not-
would
not
say
that-
there are
not that
10
people are
people, not
items.
10 pounds of people.
It depends on how
Maybe a
Dahmer
little
you
bitty
are, I
people.
suppose.
There's 1,000 people. There are 1,000 people here today.
Yeah. So there was another one. That's also along the same vein as less and fewer.
Yes.
Because less again also talks about again also. See, I just did that.
You did.
That's and also. It
Damn
refers
it.
to volumes, not quantity of.
But do you see how we do this and it's painful for us to do it, but we can still laugh at ourselves because we catch ourselves and
And because of English, it gets kind of confusing because you're like, okay, look at all this money I have, and you're thinking about you got like $1,000 bills in your hand, but it's still like an amount of money.
right.
You know, I have less money because money is a concept, but you have these like representations of the concept, which are like bills, which are quantity. Like I have this number of dollar bills, but you wouldn't say I have this number of money. So it gets kind of, it's difficult to know exactly which one to use in some situations. Now, if you're more educated on the topic than I am, you might say, it really isn't. Yeah, nerd.
Like that. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
pressing on.
And that's just the thing. As I said, there are things that I still do that I wish I didn't. And speaking of wishing, I wish there was is incorrect. It's
Yeah.
I wish there were. Anything that it's like the subjunctive form. So anything that's like a wish, a dream, I dreamt that there were, something that's not real.
Like a hypothetical too, you know?
Yes, a hypothetical. It would be I wish there were rather than I wish there was. That's
And
all
if
I
you're
have.
wondering what does it matter, it's like it helps distinguish the real from the unreal, you know, especially if you're writing. It can get kind of confusing if you're talking about something that actually happened. You know, how am I framing this with respect to my interpretation of what's being told?
For me, it just hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, it matters to me why, but it just hurts. Okay.
I mean, there are a lot of things. We could probably just pick a few of these in the interest of time, because
Yeah.
this is not a comprehensive list, and I'm sure if we just stayed here for an hour, we could just nitpick every little thing in the world that stands out as marginally incorrect. But the whole point is this is why that we have these conversations, even with each other, because it's for clarity, and we need that to happen.
Yeah. So next time you're in the presence of a person who's neurodivergent, or if you're neurodivergent, just take a moment to explain to people why you are expressing a need for clarity or why you might be correcting them, and hopefully they'll be more understanding in the future.
Yeah, so I got it. There's one. I keep looking at this one on this list, and it's driving me insane. I have to say it. I have to say it.
Say.
You mentioned and also, because it's redundant.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need to say, I thought to myself. Who else are you going to think to? You can't. Oh, I thought to my mom. No, you're not psychic. There's no like telepathy. You think to yourself. That's the only way you can think. Why? Just say I thought or I was thinking. Obviously, you thought to my like if there were any 0.001% chance that you could think to any that statement couldn't apply. Why? It's always assumed. Like if someone asks you what you did this morning, I go, oh, I woke up. Well, of course you woke up. You're here. There are just some things you don't say.
Oh, I'm back.
So I have a strong opinion on it.
Little rant. All right. Well,
think that's
I
outside
guess
the scope
that's
of this.
it for our nonsense today. But again, please take this with all the lightheartedness that we've presented it. And, you know, again, if we say things that in our podcast and you listen to them and you hear us busting out with some nonsense, correct us. We're going to be okay with that.
And make sure that if and when you do, it's coming from a place of help and not from a place of, I want to piss these guys off because they think they're better than us. So I'm going to find some little niche, nuancy thing they're wrong about and then slam them in the comments because they need to go to hell for wanting to be right. So yeah, don't do that. People are dicks. I'm just saying, please don't. We have feelings too.
We do.
Yeah. Like people
Might be hard
who
to tell, but we do. All right. On that note, in the next episode, we are going to be discussing AuDHD, odd HD.
AuDHD, combination of autism and ADHD. Is
Yeah.
it real? Spoiler alert, yes.
Anywho, I mean, as Jason told me last week, we could just answer the question and not do an episode, or it could be the quickest episode ever.
Yeah,
We're going to
seen
get
that,
into it.
like news articles and things, it'll be a question. And if like the answer to the question is one word, then don't write the article about it. Like are these people destroying XYZ? It's like,
Yes.
just, am I going to click the link and it's going to be a solitary word? No, then just don't do that. Okay, these aren't rants. I need to stop. We just need to move on.
But it's kind of involved. So that is what we will be discussing in the next episode. Until then, goodbye.
See ya, pals.